So this is a reader question, and I'm very happy with this question which has been asked. How should I invest, or how should one behave when I want to be overweight in a specific sector or theme, like power or automobile or clean energy or artificial intelligence, or how should I be overweight on a specific country, like say Japan? Would it be possible to implement these themes in a global portfolio? I think it's a fabulous question, especially at a time when many Indians are trying to invest in foreign countries. And largely when you say Indians are trying to invest in foreign countries, they mean US. Not too many people are investing in other countries. And it is also fair because 57% of world market capitalization is US. I mean, that's the weightage in the index, so I could be wrong by 1% or 2%. The question is, should you be investing at all in a foreign country, and do you need to be so specific saying I want to be in FANG or I need to be, and will you put a significant amount? Let us talk of a person with say 2 crores of investment. How much is that person going to put into say FANG stock? 100 rupees a month, 10,000 rupees a month, 2,000 rupees a month, right? I don't know what is that number, and it can't be a very significant number. We will all have home bias. I have exposure in foreign equity, which is through an Indian mutual fund or two to 3 Indian mutual funds. And I really don't know what is the breakup, country-wise breakup in 2 of those portfolios. I really don't care too much because I know it's with a good fund manager. I know he sold something in US, he bought something in Japan. I don't have to worry about the tax, so that's all I have done. And now we have a fund which says we are going to be in disruptive technology, so your artificial intelligence, your Bitcoin could also perhaps come into that. I really don't know. And one thing very clear, the world is changing rapidly, and if you want to invest in young startups, etc., you may have to take the route of a mutual fund which is investing abroad, because in India those companies are not, I mean Flipkart for example will never get listed in India for you to be able to invest. So if you want disruptive technology or companies using a lot of artificial intelligence, then you will have to look at some of those funds, yes. And do you need to reposition your portfolios? Depends on how much you understand and how much you know. I don't understand enough about technology to know which fund to invest in for disruptive technology. Maybe there is the Schroders fund which Axis is looking at, but I really don't know where to invest. But today you could find an exchange traded fund for almost everything abroad. You may not find it in India, but you could find it there. So you may have to use the LRS route to invest there. I really don't know. I have not done that, and I have no intentions of doing it, at least not there. You could find climate change or artificial intelligence, anything of that sort. And I think one thing which is happening among investment managers, they're becoming more like fashion managers. There's a fashion parade every month, so there is something happening every day perhaps. Like Bollywood has 300 film releases in a year. I think the mutual fund industry also has 300 releases a year. So there will be somewhere that you will be able to find it, but the question is, how much money will you put into it for it to create a serious impact on your portfolio? That's the question to ask. Well, you can always, in 2018 also there were some ETFs available which took care of blockchain, cyber security, and those kind of biotechnology and things like that, which most of us can't grapple with. I mean, beyond saying Bitcoin, I wouldn't know anything about Bitcoin to be able to decide whether to invest in it at all. And randomly, if you pick up, some would have done better than the average and some would not have done so well, and some would have given you a runaway return. For example, the return in Bitcoins over the last 8 years is 259%. 259% on a point-to-point basis, 2013 to 2021. Now imagine on an SIP basis, the return would be higher because it has a very high standard deviation and it has a drawdown of 82%. So some units you would have got at 18 and some you would have got at 100, right? So that is what would have happened. So you would have got a better return. So are there world indices with which to compare? I really don't know, because how will I invest in artificial intelligence in India? I don't have enough data. I do not know any company which is benefiting by artificial intelligence and listed in India, I don't know. So I would go and invest in a Taiwan fund or in a Japan fund and hope. So I do not know. Global water resources could be one. Global forest resources could be one. Do we have MSCI indices for this? No, we don't have. You also have to understand that if you take an old portfolio, in 1900, if you had invested X amount in companies in the US, 80% of them are defunct now. And 1900 to now is only about 100 and odd years, right? 120 years. So this could happen to your portfolio also. But I think if you are in large cap funds and mid cap funds and small cap funds and maybe some world tracker fund or some ETF which puts into world portfolios, or some Indian mutual fund which puts it into world portfolios, and you're hoping that the fund manager understands when to sell Japan, buy Hong Kong, sell Taiwan, buy Korea and all that, then you're lucky that she is doing a good job, because I see some lady fund managers also there. Well, the world is continuing to do well. China is continuing to rise even today. The virus has taken its toll, will take its toll. We have seen many young people die, we have seen old people die, we have seen old people fight the epidemic. All these changes will happen. So there will be some money for biotechnology and things like that. But are we overblowing the theme? Are we, are these companies overpriced? I really don't know how to price say a company which finds a new virus for the corona problem, right? And whether these viruses are going to be repetitive. What happens if the virus is repetitive and every 6 months you need it? So then therefore all the new manufacturers will also make money. Finding a sector which is going to benefit by recent changes is something very difficult to do. But the best way to invest in a sector fund is when the sector is doing very badly for a long period of time. Having said that, you could have entered infrastructure using the same logic in 2018 and you may not have benefited. You may have entered oil and you may have benefited. You may have entered metals and you may have benefited. So saying because a sector is doing well, for example, take metals or take sugar. You've seen share prices go like this and go like this. Now, is this the end? Or is this going to happen, or is it going up like this and then going to fall? We don't know. We are only able to guess. So the question to ask is, how much of your money is in equities? Of that, how much is in large cap, large cap, mid cap, small cap, well diversified portfolios? How much of it is already in US companies, and is it a significant portion? And how much of it is you want to put into technology companies and things like that? I really don't know. It's a question of all those answers put together will decide whether you should do it at all. After you decide to do it, you can find enough ETFs internationally, so maybe you have to use the LRS method. But there are funds in India which are the wrapper for many of these funds abroad. So you could look at those funds and maybe you should invest. But how to spot a change in technology the fortunes of a sector now? Very difficult question, very difficult call. And SIP doesn't work in these things. Like for example, in metals, maybe SIP over the last 10 years wouldn't have given you a great return. Or you may have run out of patience in 2020 and then the boom would have started. So these things are all possible. I personally wouldn't want to be investing here unless I know the fund manager and say, okay, the fund manager is taking the call, so let him do that, right? So should you be investing in tobacco? Should you be investing in coal? I really don't know, but these sectors are still making money. But everybody tells you, oh, this is a sin industry and it's not good. But ITC could have made money for you, right? You could have made money in NTPC. You could have made money in Coal India. Forget the others, right? So it's your call, and I find it very difficult. So I prefer putting some money in some of these equities. I own some of these shares which I mentioned. For example, I own NTPC, I own Coal India, right? So your call, difficult to take. I really don't have any useful answer which you can use for your investing. Thank you.